Blink of an eye, City are 2-1 behind at St James's Park. I'm still joined in the studio by Paul Dickov and by Richard Dunne. And wow, what a first, I was going to say 45 minutes, but it was 53 minutes because there was 8 minutes added on. So much to talk about, so much to get through from that first half. I think we'll go in chronological order through the first half because there were so many different incidents. I want to try and remember not to forget anything that happened in that first half. So the game started thick and fast. We were talking about in the pre-show not letting the doing anything that lets the crowd go, and it was good in the first kind of 5 minutes. We were very much on top. Then Newcastle scored a goal that was clearly offside, Paul. So without seeing too many replays, I think there was 3 players offside in the build-up. But due to this bizarre rule, this bizarre law indeed, they carry on and they score, but it's offside. In the melee of that, Ederson is injured. So what was your thoughts on everything that happened there so early in the game?
We've been saying for, well, a couple of seasons now about this stupid rule about players being offside. It was quite clearly offside. And the linesman, people probably say that the narrative from the PGMOL for the linesman to do it, but I don't get that. You know, he was clearly offside. He's got to put his flag up. Well, John Stones injured a couple of weeks ago because of that. People, pundits, ex-players, everybody's been saying for about 18 months now that somebody's going to get injured because of this stupid rule, and it's happened again. And you know, the linesman's waited and waited and waited, and if that's the narrative for him, the 2 offside straight afterwards, he's put his flag up straight away. So it's a daft rule, and unfortunately for us, you know, we've ended up losing Ederson throughout injury in the first half as well. And you know, Ederson's a big player for us. Ortega's a fantastic goalkeeper, but Ederson's, as we've seen since he's been here, is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and we've ended up losing him because of a stupid rule that's coming from somebody that's never kicked a football in her life before.
Just takes all the responsibility away from linesmen. They think, well, there's no point putting my flag up, I'll just leave it down to VAR and it's not my fault. But they're causing injuries now. Football's been really lucky for a couple of seasons that they've got away with it. But now you've got 2 really high-profile players from the best team in the country getting injured because of people not having the responsibility and not taking I suppose their actions, their own actions. They're trying to go and make these big decisions, and now they're just taking the easy way out all the time. And again, it's cost. Hopefully, it's not a bad injury, but you cost a player a match.
I think the narrative is it's because if it's tight, then they can go back and look back at it. But as you said, Natalie, there was 3 players clearly offside. It wasn't even tight. And you know, you tell me, Dunne, if you're a centre half, well, what do you do in that? Do you know what I mean?
I have this feeling in my mind, we're going back when I was playing at QPR, Nathan Manu was playing, and it was the same situation. There was a long ball over the top, clearly offside. Nathan chases after him, pulls his hamstring, and the linesman goes, "Oh, he's offside, by the way." And you're like, well, why couldn't you just tell us that 20 seconds ago or whatever it is? But it's such a simple thing. It's always worked for 100 years beforehand. People have been able to sort it out and see an onside or an offside. But all of a sudden now they've got the VAR, so the linesmen are just passing on the responsibility.
Yeah, the frustration was, I mean, again, I want to see the replays, but it just looked like there was 3 of them offside. And then you're like, come on, this is not even a close call, because if that one wasn't, then the other 2 were. It's frustrating. In terms of how that affects the game, Richard, when Ederson, the number 1, you know, obviously Stefan plays in the cup competitions, but the number 1 for so many years, they're used to it being Ederson. How does that then affect the setup of the defence going forward, or does it?
I think you would put Ederson probably number 1 in the world for his ability to pass the ball out with his feet, and you can see the way that City are playing with the 2 full-backs really high. So when you play really high, you think, well, you've got a goalkeeper who can smash a ball 50 or 60 yards to either of them on their feet, but now the goalkeeper has to play it shorter. The full-backs are higher up, so they've not got as many passing options. Newcastle are pressing higher. So it's not just it's just a substitution. It's affected a game plan that the manager and the team would have worked on for a few days anyway. So it took a little bit of getting used to, but after maybe 10-15 minutes, they got their foot on the ball and they started to knock it around as we know they can. And then they created opportunities and obviously got the goal then after that.
Yes, the goal. Let's move on to talk about that, because what did we witness from Bernardo Silva? Absolutely stunning finish. Would you like to just glow about that finish for a minute, Paul?
It was ridiculous. You know, we were saying What makes it even more outrageous is it's with his weaker foot, which that skill in itself, you know, the back heel, as the ball's getting whipped across to direct it into the goal is hard enough. If it's on your good foot, never mind if it's on his bad foot to do it. And, you know, as Dunne said, you know, we were wondering tactically before the game how we were going to set up. But, you know, so Phil's obviously starting wide and Doku, but they're both playing so narrow in the middle. That's making it. Kyle's been playing as a winger and Guardiola on the other side looks as if he's playing as a winger, which is allowing us to outnumber Newcastle in the middle of the park. You know, Phil's in there, Kovacic is in there, Rodri's in there, now Doku's in there, and we're able to play between the lines in that area, and then when the Trippier and Dan Burn have to come in narrow, it leaves a space for Kyle and Guardiola outside, and great ball in, but the finish is outrageous. You know, I just started laughing. I didn't know what to do. We all know how talented he is, and but as I said, to do that with your weaker foot is just a ridiculous
as well, when you're running forward towards the ball, to be able to put it all together. It's one of those where you try on a five-a-side and you just end up flat on your face, because it's such a difficult thing to cross your legs over. To get it so perfectly right, it was an amazing bit of skill.
There's going to be kids all over the country tomorrow in the park trying to
Smacking their faces off the ground.
Yes, you know that there is. An absolutely sensational finish. If you haven't seen it yet, you are going to very, very much enjoy it. We talked before the show about the role of Phil Foden and where he was going to play and where we thought he was going to play. Can you give us a quick tactical breakdown, Paul, of where Phil's been playing, where Bernardo's been playing and how that's affected the game?
You know, on paper it looks like a 4-3-3, you know, with Phil, Julian and Jeremy Doku, but what both wide players are doing, they're playing so narrow in there, and it's allowing, obviously we've got Rodri, it's allowing us 5v3 in the middle of the park, really. Anthony Gordon is ending up having to track back Kyle Walker, Almiron on the other side, which then, you know, sometimes they've got 6 at the back, but in that first half we were playing so wide, which allows us that 5v3 in the middle of the park, and we've controlled the game, you know, for 99% of it. You know, we've just had a mad 2.5 minutes where they've hit us in the break, but I think from what Pep, from the outside looking in, what he's wanted to do as in controlling the game tactically, it's worked a treat.
I think when you play such a high line like City are, and they caught Newcastle offside numerous times, over the course of a match, intelligent players will work a way around it and they'll find little holes and gaps that they can exploit. And fair play to Newcastle, they've defended really deep and they've thought, right, sacrifice a few offsides, because the one or two that we get right, we might get opportunities, and they started to do that with longer balls into the thing. And it's difficult to criticise because, like Paul says, you dominate the game, you ask your two full-backs to push really high, one of them creates the goal, but then on the other hand there's spaces for Newcastle to get in behind, and maybe on other occasions they're more organised defensively, whereas today we just seem a little bit open.
Yeah, the Kyle Walker with the assist for the Bernardo Silva goal. Has the fact that way we've been playing, and the fact that we've so been dominating in Newcastle's half, and we've so been dominating the attack, has that led to Newcastle, because both their goals coming from counterattacks, coming from taking that opportunity, and of course the first goal, the ball from Bruno Guimaraes, who we talked about before the show, to Isaac, who we talked about before the show, annoyingly. It was an incredible ball, but it's come from those counter-attacks.
Yeah, I think it was a run maybe by Gordon who ran across, who took Kyle Walker back deeper than the defensive line. And when the ball comes to Guimaraes, he plays it straight into Isaac, and Kyle is deeper, so it's difficult. And he ends up in a 1v1 situation, ideally, because of the quality of Isaac. You know, when he gets on his right foot, exactly what he wants to do. He needs to show him the line, he needs to show him outside, but Isaac is a really good player. He's got the ability, he knows Kyle Walker wants to show him wide, he wants to cut inside, and to be fair, he took the goal really well. The quality to turn quickly and instantly just strike it into the corner was a beautiful finish, but it all comes, like you say, from that ball from Guimaraes to start it.
Yeah, and then they went, 2 minutes 18 seconds later, very, very similar goal again. Paul, do you think had we not sorted ourselves out? What happened for it to have come so quickly?
The game was very hectic at that time as well, and I think especially the lads at the back, I think they were hectic in how they were defending a little bit, and sometimes we've been really good when we concede a goal to. Let's think, OK then, let's calm down, get experienced players in there, let's go again, we're away from home. But it was as if how frantic the game was and the goal affected them a little bit for that couple of minutes. And obviously very, very similar, Anthony Gordon, you know, as Dunne said with Isaac, he wants to come in his right foot and bend that there, where sometimes the best thing is to show them in their weaker foot. But in the heat of the moment, it's easier said than done, isn't it? But, you know, that's as well as we've played for a long time. You know, but with the ball, you know, and Phil's been outstanding in the little pockets in there. Rodri, as he is, always, you know, we've caused them so many problems. It's just like a mad 2.5 minutes as we've gone down. But the one thing I will say is that there's more goals to come in this game, second half.
Very, very, yeah, I completely agree. For us, yes. Before we go on to have a little look at that second half and any changes or what we're hoping to see, let's have a quick refresh of Mystery Blue. So we started this before the show. You've had 2 clues so far. Dunne thinks he knows who it is. So your first clue, just to refresh you, this player is a former teammate of both Richard Dunne and Steve Howie. Clue 2, this player amassed over 100 caps for his country throughout his career. I think you played for him with your country.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing. Okay, clue 3 is this player played for both clubs with over 350 appearances for Newcastle. It's who you think it is.
Yeah.
Okay, don't say it yet. Don't say it yet.
Did you play with him here as well?
Yes, played here.
Oh, you played with him at City as well.
Yeah.
As well as for Ireland, we are thinking.
Yeah.
We don't know that. Obviously, we don't know the answer. We are just guessing. Okay. Are you still sticking with your?
It's my neighbour.
It's your neighbour. Okay. Very nice. We will give you the answer to the Mystery Blue in the full-time show. Feel free to WhatsApp us in if you would like to have your guess. So, second half coming up again. Second half commentary with Alistair Mann and Michael Brown on the Manchester City app. We heard from Alistair Mann in the first half about the depth that Newcastle don't have on their bench due to the amount of injuries that they've got. We have certainly some talent on the bench. I am very much hoping that the King will return in this second half, and if he does, I fancy us to get a good
I'm sure
view.
we'll see him at some point.
Yes. Do you expect any changes immediately? Would you make any changes, or what are you hoping for in the second half? Not
at the minute, unless there's injuries. You know, don't forget we've already made a substitution already, so I can't see Pep very rarely changes at half time. I think if it's still 2-1 or the way the game's going with 20-25 minutes to go, I think the King will be back in the pitch, and Jack possibly as well.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe asked Guardiola just to sit back more as the third centre half, and push Doku out wide and still allow Kyle to run up and back. I just think at times it looks like the lads are expecting there to be 3 defenders, and there's only the 2 there, so which can't cover the same amount of spaces. It's also got a little bit crowded in that central area, and Doku, you know, 1v1 out wide. He's as good as anybody. Sometimes inside he can get a little bit caught up in the number of players there. So maybe just a little tactical switch just to change things, but I'm sure Pep knows what he's doing.
I'm going to look forward to, in the second half, seeing more of Rodri versus Guimaraes. That was getting pretty tasty towards the end of the half. Rodri looked like a man possessed, like in a very good, passionate way, and his shirt was untucked, Dickie, which always worries me.
It does, yeah. Look, he's got to. He knows as well. You know, there's plenty of times where he's had a booking in the first half and he's managed the game. But Bruno was lucky. You know, and another rest played advantage, and another day that could have been another yellow card. And I think that's why Rodri was so frustrated about it, bringing him down through frustration, but then him getting the yellow card when he hadn't booked Bruno at the same time as well.
Looking forward to that battle in the second half very much. So we're predicting more goals. What do you think, Dunne? More for both teams, or?
No, I think City will organise themselves better without the ball, so there won't be as many attacking options, I would imagine. Anyway, I would imagine that will be the plan in the second half. And City will score goals, they always do. They always create opportunities. I mean, Bernardo Silva was massively unlucky with the shot that hit the crossbar as well. So there will be more chances to come, and the amount of players they get into forward positions just means they're going to score, they're going to create. And yeah, I mean, like Dickie says, they played really well in the first half. Just that short couple of minute period where they lost a bit of concentration and lost the goals. But I certainly think there's still a match to be won for them.
I'm going 4-2 now. That's my prediction. How about you?
I'll go with that as well.
4-2.
Yes.
We're having it. Hopefully the King comes on and gets a couple of those as well. So back over now to the app, if you're not currently watching on the app, for Alistair Mann and Michael Brown for full match commentary of the second half. It's 2-1 down. Come on, City. You know we love a comeback. We'll see you at full time.
Well, welcome back to St James's Park. Yeah, City are the comeback kings. They've done it several times. They have won recent away games having come from behind.